Congressman Jim Clyburn, very good to have you back on the show. You need to tell the Lizard's Thicket that we're coming. Tell them to get ready.
Well, thank you very much.
Before we get
over the weekend.
Oh, good. Really? Okay. Well, we'll be there.
That's right.
Before we get to the payroll tax cuts, I'm just curious because you worked with Newt Gingrich. What do you make of his surge in the polls? And what do you make of the potential of working with him again? Can you envision that?
No, I cannot quite envision that. But,
can't see it at all,
having
can
worked
you?
with him.
But
I think
listen,
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah? Why?
Yes. Well, because I think that Newt is very professorial, and he's always good to listen to, not quite as good to work with. He tend to sort of fly off the handle. He will say almost anything in order to get a charge. I'm sure that he's not serious when he says all of these things. I remember the Susan Smith issue here in South Carolina, the young lady who drowned her two sons. Newt blamed that on congressional Democrats. You know, it's the most amazing thing that he would just say things, and then he figure out some way to justify it later. So I don't think the voters in the Republican primary are going to reward him with the nomination, though he will probably win in South Carolina if he does well in Iowa, because South Carolinians tend to like to go contrary to what happens in New Hampshire, because I don't think he'll do well in New Hampshire.
Mark Halperin.
Congressman Clyburn, can you tell us a story about Newt Gingrich that you experienced firsthand that you think illustrates what kind of person he is?
Well, there are so many. I just told you the one about Susan Smith. That was just beyond the pale with me. But I think watching Newt's rhetoric when he was a speaker, and the fact that he always tended to reach out and work with people that he considered to be the underdog, yet he will go right on TV the next morning and just denigrate their existence. I mean, how do you talk about poor school children the way he talked about poor school children after going around touring with Reverend Al Sharpton in these schools and seeing how energetic these young people were, had them appear with them on TV in the evenings, yet you wouldn't get any of that as you watch him operate in this primary. So it's kind of interesting as to what kind of personality this is, and I cannot see him being president of the United States.
Steve Radner.
Maybe we should turn to the situation on the Hill in terms of the legislation and the extension of the unemployment insurance benefits as well as the payroll tax cut. Obviously, there's now another impasse between the Democrats and the Republicans. So how do you see that get broken? Do you see it get broken? What's your outlook for that, those two pieces of legislation?
Well, it's got to happen. There's no way in the world we're going to allow this big tax increase to take place on working people. The payroll tax holiday, as proposed by the president, I think is a good way to go. It looks as if the Senate is not going to approve a surcharge on millionaires or on income above $1 million. But I think what we ought to do is take a look at what CBO has done with the overseas contingency account. I don't know why we won't use that as a pay for, not just for the payroll tax extension, but for unemployment insurance, as well as doing the sustainable growth rate. We know we got to fix that, because if we don't, next year you will see a big decrease in reimbursement to doctors, and you'll have more doctors leaving the field and not taking care of Medicare patients. So the contingency overseas account was good for Ryan. They got it in the Ryan budget, and they thought it was a good thing to do at that point. Why don't we put it out there now? Because there's much more than is necessary to pay for these things. So we can do this very easily if we get honest about finding the way.
Willie.
Congressman, what do you think is the most likely solution there? That's your proposal. You have Republicans who've said they will not go for the surtax on millionaires to pay for the payroll tax. So somewhere in between those two things, there will be, hopefully, for the country, some middle ground. Where do you think the middle ground is?
Well, I understand that Senator Reid is going to come out with what he calls a compromise today. And I look forward to that because it looks as if whatever happens will have to start in the Senate because we're not going to get this started in the House side because Speaker Boehner knows full well what has to be done, but I don't think he's going to get the kind of support he needs to do anything from his conference. So whatever Senator Reid comes out with, I'll be interested in looking at. But I do believe I'm very serious when I say we ought to look at the overseas contingency account. The headlines are in the papers down here this morning about the significant savings that we're going to get. The president is now had the ceremony taking us out of Iraq, and he's sticking to his proposal to draw down in Afghanistan. That's a good way to do it.
All right, Congressman Jim Clyburn, always good to see you. Thank you very much. Good luck with everything.
Well, thank you so much.